Hello, welcome to Studio Anderson Live. Here I am, John Anderson, your favorite YouTuber, and I am. Am I on? I am on. Okay, I had to make sure. So, as you can see per the title, I want to talk about a few different topics on this live, and just so my viewers know, I'm going to change my live time to Sunday evening because I was doing Monday and I skipped last Monday, and I'm like, Monday's not really the best time, and there's also a lot of popular live shows that go on like Thursday and Friday, and Saturday's not really the best for me, so I was like, Sunday. Hello, thanks for watching. Um, so one of my things I was going to mention on is talk about J.K. Rowling. So this might be old news to some people, but apparently she's canceled again. And it's so funny to me, and I don't know why not many people are really pointing this out because this woman has been canceled for like 20 years. Because when she started, I remember when I was a kid and Harry Potter, excuse me, nose is itching, Harry Potter came out, and a certain group of Christians were like mad because they thought it was encouraging with like actual witchcraft. Now, I was a Christian, but I was also a little kid at the time, and I thought it was kind of silly because I was like, it's not talking about real witchcraft. So even if we're gonna agree that it's wrong or whatever, it's very fantastical, it's very fictional, it's not talking about real witchcraft. So there's people that bought her books and burned it, for those of you that don't know about that. Well, now, flash forward, I think it was last year, she got canceled again because she posted a thing saying um, that she, I believe she basically said that, men and women are real, and that, something about basically of the opinion that taking away the concept of women's rights by saying that the idea of womanhood doesn't exist is not really right. But she went through the whole spiel that we have to say, oh, I love trans people, and, I have friends who are, and I would never, deny their right to exist. And I think it's kind of silly because we always have to go through the saying, like, like if you don't say that, they're like, are you saying that they don't have the right to exist? It's like, I want to hear somebody actually make that argument. Who in the world has ever said, oh, these people don't have a right to exist. Oh, they shouldn't even be allowed to live. Like, nobody, even like legit people that don't like whatever group of people, which is pretty rare, mind you, they never come out and say, oh, they shouldn't exist. Like, to basically accuse somebody of advocating for genocide by critiquing something about a certain group of people, or even just an individual, it's a real stretch. But despite that, J.K. Rowling went through the whole thing. I don't have no problem with trans people. I don't disrespect them. I see them for what they want to be seen as. Blah blah blah. And still, she got canceled. And then later, some people came and said, I think they signed like a letter against cancel culture to stand with J.K. Rowling, saying that she's a good author, she's a good person, she shouldn't be canceled because she has some opinion that's not even that crazy. And then I think the people that signed that got canceled temporarily. It's all temporary, guys. Just keep that in mind. If someone comes out and calls you a racist or a transphobe and you get like canceled, then you'll be fine tomorrow or the next day, as long as nothing has actually been done to you, because they'll forget about it. They'll move on. Remember, we used to all hate Paula Deen, supposedly, because she said the N-word like 50 years ago in a letter. It's like, if you really want to find a pure person who's never done anything wrong, well, you're not going to find it because it doesn't exist. But yeah, so I just thought it was ironic. So my point about J.K. Rowling, right? So now she came out with a book, another book, and it's not based in the Harry Potter universe, I don't believe. And there's a character in it who at some point disguises himself as a woman and commits a murder, kills a woman dressed as a woman or something like that. And is not supposed to be an actual transsexual or transgender or whatnot. But now she's being canceled again, and they're burning her books. The far leftists are burning her books when, like, what, 15 years ago maybe, they were burning Harry Potter books. The so-called far-right people, the like Christian fundamentalists, were burning her Harry Potter books, and the left was like, "Oh, that's horrible. It's just a book." And now they're burning the book, and then the people on the right are like, "It's just a book." It's really crazy how the world has kind of flipped in a lot of ways, and why? Why has it switched? Why has certain things switched and flipped and turned upside down? Is it because it makes sense? No. Is it because there's any real reason for it? Not really. In my humble opinion, it's basically, you know, social media and the media at large is putting all these ideas into our heads and telling us all this stuff that we have to believe and we have to do, we have to say. And like I saw a video, I think it was like 4 years old, where a so-called far-right LGBT group in Stockholm, Sweden, did a gay parade in a Muslim neighborhood, and they reported it like they were like horrible people because it's too loud. They were reporting it like the they were reporting it like these were like horrible far right extremists who were having a gay parade in a Muslim neighborhood in Stockholm because they know that, you know, they're not being sensitive to the religion of the Muslims. So when Muslims want to hate gay people or just think that gayness is not cool, you have to be respectful of that and not have a gay parade in your neighborhood. But when Christians think it's not cool, you have to hate them and like cancel them. It's a double standard. So you have all these double standards going on everywhere. And so it's just so funny how that happened. So they were acting like the Muslims in the neighborhood were like just these peaceful leftists, which I mean I don't see how Muslims are considered leftists now. I don't have any problem with Muslims. See, I just did it. You always have to do that. They've conditioned you that if you say anything about Muslims, even if it's not bad, you have to say, I don't have any problem with them. I have friends who are. I don't dislike them. But this one person, you know, or but I don't think they're liberal. Like, yeah, it's crazy. People do that to me. Like they'll be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I just have a question." Like, and they'll ask me something about gayness, and they're just like apologetic and like, I don't have any problem with gay people, but blah 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 blah. Or sometimes they'll critique something about me or give me like constructive criticism and preface it with like, I don't dislike gay people, and it has none of it has anything to do with gayness. And I'm like you're offending me by acting like that more than you would offend my gayness, I guess, by you know, saying something that may not be very positive about me. Like if I'm at work and I do something wrong and you say, "Oh, hey, we actually do it this way," or you got to make sure to do this job thoroughly. Like, okay, now I know. I'll do it. It don't have nothing to do with my gayness. It don't have nothing to do with anything else. Like, imagine if it was like another way. Like, I don't have no problem with white people, but you need to do your job better. Like, if someone said that to you, you'd be like, "What? What does this have to do with white people?" Like, you'd be like, "What are you talking about?" Um, but yeah, someone's blowing up my phone, guys. This always happens. But but yeah, so that's that, guys. That's not that. That's not that. I'm not done. But I'm just saying that that was my point about J.K. Rowling. But yeah, so then I also was going to talk about the LGBT community. And like I made my walkway video and I kind of themed it LGBT. Like, why would a gay person be a conservative? And I was like, you know, because that's something a lot of people wouldn't understand. But I also didn't want it to be about just like, oh, hi, I'm gay and conservative, gay, conservative, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to talk about myself and my life story, but a lot of how I came to conservatism came through my experience of being gay and being in the LGBT community. And now I don't really consider myself in the LGBT community because, like, we think it's just like a collective of everybody that's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and now it's like everything else, Q plus plus plus, and the pedophiles are trying to get in there and all this stuff, and you have all these groups that people never even heard of, and not that they shouldn't. I feel like if someone is, I don't know, omni romantic or something that nobody knows what it means, they would get more understanding from the masses or from other people if they had their own movement. Not hello, hello, oh nice to see you, Frozen Phoenix. How you doing? Yeah, I feel like people like why we gotta make the LGBT bigger. I don't really believe in LGBT as a thing because like everybody that happens to be gay or trans or whatever, they don't have anything to do with each other per se. And the only way that we do is that we're conditioned by the media to act a certain way and talk a certain way. And we're supposedly all into interior design or whatever it is. And it's like, um, and it's just, that's the only similarities, the similarities that have basically been conditioned into us to have nothing to do with our actual biology or neurology or anything like that. So, so yeah, I don't really personally believe that LGBT is a thing. Then making it longer, like LGBTQ plus plus plus. Nobody knows what Q means. So like maybe it means queer, maybe it means questioning, maybe it means quack, maybe it means uh, quad gendered. Like I've got answers, all kinds of answers from people, and uh, and I just think it's silly, and it just furthers this idea. It's so crazy how like politics, like we think like it's easy to be like I don't care about politics. You know, maybe we have a Republican president, maybe we have a Democratic president, and some people are apolitical. But even when you're apolitical, like you're not really apolitical because political movements and political what is that called um, like ideology is going to affect like our entire lives in ways we don't imagine. Like you could grow up gay and then end up, you know, being interested in certain things or being involved in certain movements or certain ideas, and like it's only because like you've been taught to, and it actually has nothing to do with your like natural personality or being. And I mean, like, if you happen to have a bunch of gay friends or whatever, and you're gay, and like you connect on your experience being interested in the same sex, I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's an actual gay community, but it's not really a community as far as everybody who has same sex attraction really has anything in common per se. And even when I was like acting like a stereotype and stuff, and more conditioned by the LGBT media, I didn't fit in with a lot of people. A lot of gay people didn't like me. There's a lot of animosity. You have those like queenie gays that are just bitchy to everybody, and you have like, you know, the ones that are semi good looking, so they think they're better than all the other like average looking gay dudes. And you have like you have the average good looking gay dudes. Like if they think that you're good looking, they'll either be like obsessed with you or they'll just think you're an asshole because they are jealous of your looks. It's very superficial. Like gay people tend to be very, at least gay men tend to be very like obsessed with looks. Have you noticed how like I'm just gonna call it all the shit. I'm just calling it all the gay shit right now. Like, have you any of you guys noticed how like a lot of gay men are like scared to grow up? Like we want to look. I mean, I like looking young and maintaining my youthful appearance, but you have like it's like very common. Like you see a lot of these young gay men, like they try really hard to not look grown, even when they're like 30 plus, 40 plus years old. And, you know, like I can't say I'm totally like free of that because like I don't want to have a beer belly and like a beard and, you know, look like a 50-year-old trucker. But at the same time, it's like you kind of got to accept your age to some level, like be healthy, age gracefully. But I don't get why so many of us want to look like a teenager a whole life. It's kind of strange. I feel like you have the opposite with straight men. Like you'll have like straight high school dudes or college dudes that like go out of their way to look like grown ass men, like don't really take care of themselves per se. Not all of them, but some of them. It's like they value looking mature and grown and manly more than looking like youthful and like youthful and well kept. And that's probably part of the feminine influence in the gay male community is that in that way we do tend to take after females in our behavior and trying to look young for a long time and trying to you know just like maintain a youthful appearance for a really long time. I just think it's interesting. I'm not really knocking it. I just don't really understand why. And I really feel like a lot of it is social. A lot of it is not really biological because if you look at other countries, If you're like me and you study other languages, you'll see that the gay community or even like the trans community is either more or less prevalent or existent or acts more or less one way or another based on culture. And it's really interesting. So I really see it as a cultural phenomenon, like especially transgenderism, because you don't see transgenderism in the same way or even to the same degree in a lot of countries until they've been influenced by American media. Like you have a lot of people who consider themselves just like flamboyant men, and then once the idea of transgenderism was like propagated to these countries, they start like getting sex changes and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, well, I've always been this way." I'm like, and that's something that never really, that always like confuses me. Like when you have these old married gay people or these just grown ass men that decide they want to be women, and then when they talk about it, they'll either lie and say, because I'm talking about people I know personally, they'll either admittedly lie to certain people and say that they felt that way since they were little, or they'll be like, well, I always knew there was something wrong with me. But then I watched a documentary, and then my friend asked me if I was gay or if I was trans, or then this happened or that happened. And I just knew that I had to divorce my wife and throw away my children and, and be gay or transition or whatever it is. It's like, if you didn't know for like 40 years, like if you legit knew and for whatever reason you like, let's say this happens in China and India a lot of people, they try to suppress it, and then maybe they can't and they end up cheating on their wife and eventually they come out or whatever. Like that's, it's not good for them to cheat. I'm not gonna excuse that, but it's a little bit more understandable. But when you're talking about you didn't even know, like you had no idea, you just thought something was wrong with you, because a lot of these, especially young kids nowadays, they think something's wrong with them because we're basically conditioned that something's wrong with all of us now. It's like ADHD or autism or you're LGBT. It's like put on the same. It's so funny. It's like we went from saying gay is a mental disorder to saying it's not a mental disorder, and now it's like it's almost on par with mental disorders. Like if people want to be special, but they're just like straight and white, they'll be like, "Well, I have autism. I have ADHD." Like when I was in college, it was so common that people would act like that. They'd be like, "I have a learning disorder," and they would like brag about it. And I was like, it's like it was literally be like this, like, "Oh, are you straight or gay? I'm gay. Oh, cool. Well, I have autism," and it's like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't even care if you know if I'm gay, but I don't need to know if you have autism, and you seem pretty normal to me. So it's just like, it's like we just want to be so different. I don't understand. Everyone I know, gay or straight, just wants to be left alone. This LGBT community only. Sorry, I'm reading a comment in case somebody's not viewing the comments. So, Frozen Phoenix says, everyone I know, gay or straight, just wants to be left alone. This LGBT community only seems to exist on the West Coast. Well, I'm not on the West Coast, but I definitely see what you mean. Oh, do you mean like as an actual community, like an actual existing community? Because like I would tend to agree that it's definitely more of a thing. Oh, okay, yeah, it's definitely more of a thing over there. I would agree. I haven't been there, but I've known people who live there. I'm from Florida, and there was a pretty uh, big gay community there where I lived. The LGBT community that demands others conform to them, sort of thing. Yeah, yeah. I think as far as like a mainstream thing, being that a lot of our media in Hollywood, excuse me, everything comes from the West Coast in California. I would definitely agree there. I think that mentality on smaller scales does exist other places, probably New York. I mean, I'm from Central Florida, so when I was there, it was definitely like that, especially after the Pulse shooting happened, and like all those gay people were killed in the Pulse club in like a gay club. And then everybody was like, "Oh, I've always been supportive of the gays." They had rainbow flags everywhere, memorials like every other day. It was getting to like an unhealthy level. You had people just really trying hard to virtue signal their gay acceptance, and like people were extra going hard. Like I would meet people, and they were like extra like out there about trying to make sure that I knew that they liked me for being gay. And again, I don't care. I want people to like me for as a person. But it was just, and it was weird because it was another one of those things. They were killed by an ISIS person, a person who, and then I don't know. The news says, well, he claimed to be part of ISIS, but anybody could say that. Okay, well, he was an Islamic extremist who killed a bunch of gay people, but it's the Christians we gotta worry about. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I just want to. I mean, like, there's some pretty horrible cases of like individual hate crimes, but as far as like mass murders, it's always the Muslims. I'm sure the media was furious that it wasn't an alt-right crazy that did it. Yeah, it's like if they're white or Christian or straight, it's alt-right. And then if they're not, then they're like, "Whoa, they said that they were part of ISIS while they were killing everybody, but who knows?" And they never came out with any information. They never told us why he did it. There was all kinds of rumors. I knew people that were like, "Oh, I know someone who knew him," or someone told me that she had sex with him, and like transsexuals and stuff. Like a trans person told me another transsexual they knew said that she had sex with a guy and that he was screwing gays and trannies. But I mean, honestly, people were saying so much BS in Orlando at that time that it was probably not even true. But again, they never said why. If it was any other killing that was not a Muslim terrorist, they would be demanding to know like what prompted the person to commit such a crime so that we could prevent it or something. But they didn't do that. We're just supposed to forget about it. We're just supposed to be like, oh, well, you know. And another thing, what does all right mean? Like, not that I don't know the term, but one thing that kind of red pilled me was that all these people that I would watch somebody online or read something from somebody that was a conservative, and then when I would look them up or Google them, it would be like so and so is an alt right internet personality or an alt right extremist. Sorry, there was like a little gnat trying to go at my food leftovers. Yeah, that'd be like who was it, like Sydney Watson on YouTube, Candace O, like basically anybody, not even provocateur type. They're not provocateurs, but even like Milo Yiannopoulos is provocateur, so they definitely call him that. But anybody that's conservative in the public eye is considered alt right. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, well, I read a book by Milo Yiannopoulos, and he said that originally alt-right was kind of an internet movement for people who were right-wing who didn't really identify with like the career politicians of the Republican Party, and then it got like infiltrated by actual Nazis. Um, really? That's so weird how when they say that people are on the farthest right, they're literally socialists, and then people on the far left are socialists. And that's why they say it's like a circle. Politics is like a circle because when you get to the extreme, it's literally the same thing. And so, yeah, but I mean, whether it originally was a Nazi thing or it became a Nazi thing, it's like now in the public media or in social media, like if you are conservative, they will call you alt right, especially if you're well known. But like when I first uh, started publicly expressing, well, internet publicly expressing like conservative viewpoints or reposting stuff from conservatives, like during the like when the BLM riot started. People were going on there like, "Oh, you're an alt right racist," and they would say that I'd become alt right, and I'm just like, "What does that mean?" Because I don't agree with killing people as a response to killing people. That makes me a neo-Nazi. Like, I think that that would make me the opposite of a neo-Nazi, but I guess logic is out the window. And that's just the crazy thing. It's like logic. And my third topic that I want to talk about in this video was the lies we believe, which is kind of ties into the LGBT stuff, ties into the JK Rowling cancel culture stuff. But honestly, logic, yeah, is better than feelings. I agree. And like I feel like we've been lied to so much, and especially this year is like a culmination of it all. It's like the peak. I feel like it's got to change after this year or after the election. People got to settle down, or it's just going to be something that breaks the camel's back. Something's got to happen because I'm not talking about nothing violent, but I'm just saying something's got to change because if you think about 2020, like all the stuff that we believe made us believe that this year is just cursed, it's horrible, everything's going to hell in a handbasket, is almost completely a lie. You have murder hornets was not real. They killed other bees. They didn't kill humans. You had like they said we're gonna have like deadly hurricanes. We always have semi-deadly hurricanes every year. Essentially, it hasn't happened yet this year. Um, and they said Trump was gonna, you know, if he lasts his first 4 years, he's gonna, you know, end up like restarting Nazi Germany. That obviously didn't happen. Basically, anything about Trump that they said didn't happen because it was all BS. Um, and and then another thing is, that disease that I don't want to name right now, for censorship reasons, that was going around, like comorbidity. What is it? 94% comorbidity. Like if you're healthy, even if you're underage or young or a child, you're like the likeliness that you will die is almost nothing. Which is what CNN said at first, just to put that out there, and then the facts came out on their side, what was their side, and now they're saying it's not true. Um, J.K. Rowling is a great example of the left eating their own. One little disagreement of the narrative, and you're out. Exactly. That's why so many people are getting red pilled, because they're like being happy little liberals, doing their duty, complaining about white privilege, and then they say one thing wrong, and they're like metaphorically lynched by their own people, and it's just like it's crazy. Like I don't. It's. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's just there's so much. It's like I'm hesitant to say too much because I don't want to be repetitive. Um, but it's also like I'm hoping that my audience, if you have any questions, leave me a comment and ask if you have any like things you want to know what I think about or any details that I left out, because like I feel like sometimes people that do watch a lot of conservatives, for me myself, it could get annoying if I watch like a bunch of one person and they just keep kind of repeating the same points. I get why they do it, because they get a lot of new viewers and they have to really get their message out there. Being that I have a small audience, at least for right now, I don't want to be too repetitive. I can't stay, but wanted you to know I enjoyed your videos last night, and as a staunch conservative and Christian, applaud your escape from the left. See clearly. Blessings from North Carolina. Bye now. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. I really appreciate that. Um, and I actually am so happy that I have a lot of uh, not just conservative but Christian viewers, and it's people like you that really bring a positive message for Christianity, which is, I think, what the church teaches us to do. I'm not per se a Christian, but I kind of got red pilled on that as well, because one of my best friends is a Christian, and for years I would just avoid the topic with her. She was scared to offend me, I guess, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I also assumed her beliefs, assumed why she believed what she believed. And when I actually one day just talked to her about, we ended up talking about God in multiple conversations, and I was just, my mind was blown. Like the information, the ideas, the way she feels about it that she told me, that was nothing like I'd been taught that Christians think, that Christians do. Like it was so much positivity, logic, um, so much good stuff that you only gets pointed out about other religions and not Christianity. And this is from someone who was like grew up Christian, but I didn't really understand it. I was just kind of taught to believe stuff, and nobody at that time when I was a kid, maybe because I was a kid or maybe because they didn't really have any beliefs of their own, didn't explain it in any kind of way. You'd ask a question and they'd tell you not to ask a question, or they'd say, oh, well, that's just how it is. You just got to believe it. But my friend was actually able to answer all my questions, and like it blew my mind. So thank you, Andrea, and all the other Christians watching. Ah, that water is so good. But you're much welcome. People like you are blessings. I appreciate the passion you bring to our movement so much. Bye now. Okay, bye bye. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate your appreciation. I worked in customer service a little too long, so it's like you get in that chain of thank you, no thank you, no thank you, you're welcome, and thank you for saying thank you. Oh, well, thank you for saying you're welcome, and thank you as well. It's like when you're working as a server or in like a cafe or whatever, it's like you're encouraged by the company to use. I mean, I'm a polite guy, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I feel like sometimes I overdo the thank you, but I am appreciative for you guys. This is the true tolerance, unlike the tolerance espoused by the left these days. Yeah, the left is like forced tolerance. It's like it's not even tolerance. It's like forced agreement, forced acceptance, and it's not targeted acceptance. Like, okay, let's accept people's rights to do generally what they want. And the thing that I don't get, it's like it's all cool to accept, like, okay, some people are different than us. They're gonna do excuse me, they're gonna do what they want, and that's cool as long as they're not breaking any laws. But at the same time, you can still advocate for or against certain behaviors, certain trains of thought, um, and stuff like that. If you don't think it's right, like you can say yes, we have the right to protest. Does that mean that if the virus is real, does that mean we should be packed in like sardines protesting over a non-issue? Probably not. It doesn't mean you're saying they don't have rights. It's like if you say that you disagree with the gay lifestyle, I kind of do too. I don't live the gay lifestyle, even though I'm in a gay relationship. I don't live the gay lifestyle, and I can condemn it without saying that myself and other gays don't deserve to live. Like there's a difference between basic rights and agreeing with everything. Um, Tolerance, leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. At least that's my view of it. Yeah, I agree with that. Gay lifestyle. Look, so what I mean by gay lifestyle is when some people critique the gay lifestyle, we assume, or I used to assume, that what they mean is just any gay person living their life and that they think it's bad. But like being that I was in like going to clubs and around a lot of gay people, like most, and I'm not saying it's all, of course I would never like put that on people, but a lot of a great majority of gay and trans people that I've known were like, I don't know if it comes with being gay. This was in a very accepting place in the country. Orlando is very accepting towards LGBT, but these people were always, myself included, were always smoking, always drinking. A lot of people did drugs. Like we were all very promiscuous. Like I was a teenager, and like my friends group, everybody had already slept with each other. And I don't care if people drink. I still drink once in a while, but I don't care if people drink or do whatever. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like if you watch gay movies, everybody's being promiscuous, everybody's being alcoholic, and like doing like poppers and all kinds of weird drugs that are. Um, no, I'm not describing gay people like that at large. Definitely not. I'm just saying that there is in the media, like if you watch gay movies. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm just saying that if people see that, I can understand why they would see that as a part of the gay community, because it is a part of the gay community. There are a group of people that we're not really, we're kind of taken out of the healthy relationship equation. We're told that our relationships are different, and then we don't really strive towards healthy monogamous relationships or having a family because it's not biologically possible, and we kind of just strive towards feeling good. And that's how I see it, that a lot of us, we strive towards just enjoying ourselves, which is good to enjoy yourself, but like having some discipline over your life is good too. So when people critique the gay lifestyle, I usually can tell that that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about everybody. So I don't remember why I actually brought that up, why I started talking about the gay lifestyle. But oh, I was thinking, I was talking about how you should be able to critique the behavior of somebody without it being about who they are. Um, and being gay doesn't have to be a party lifestyle or like, relentlessly holding on to your youth and not growing up. And it doesn't have to be a political movement. You don't have to be a leftist. You don't have to feel like a victim. I just feel passionate about it. That's just my view. Um, yeah. So I mean that kind of again goes in with the media. It's not just news. The news can be misleading to us, but it's also like movies and television. It's like a program. So like you watch movies and everybody who looks like you or is supposedly similar to you in some way, um, like they act a certain way, or they live a certain, do a certain career, or they behave or communicate a certain way, and we really do like subconsciously like adopt that, or at least like identify with it in some way. Or if we don't, we think that other people will view us that way. Like we might like it's the same thing with race. Like some people assume that other people view them as criminals or as degenerate people because of how everybody in the movies of certain races are portrayed that way. Or like I've had like Asian American friends be like, "Oh, everybody thinks that I'm nerdy and I'm just not a cool guy because the Asians on movies are nerdy, like not very like attractive necessarily." So it's just I don't really think the media being so prevalent in our lives is really a good thing, in my humble opinion. And that goes down to 2020 being seen as like the year of the apocalypse when it's really not. Everything that's happened this year is, yeah, nerds are awesome. I agree. Like, um, I mean, I've been called a nerd because my hobby is to study foreign languages. So, like, I guess if you study stuff, you're a nerd. but but yeah, like everything they told us about 2020 is basically a lie or just exaggerated. I don't. Yeah, I remember you told me you were. I don't speak German. I am learning actually, but I know almost nothing at this point because I just recently started. One of my best friends is German. I mentioned that to you, Frozen Phoenix, um, but yeah, I told her I would learn years ago, and I was learning all these other languages, and it didn't really happen. And lately, I was like, no, I gotta learn because I want to go travel over there. I want to go visit my friend, and I don't want to go somewhere and know nothing of the language, and you know, don't want to do that. I've forgotten most of it by now. Yeah, that happens. I studied French for a long time, when since I was like 11 or something, and I used to think, oh, I'm so fluent, whatever, and then it's not really useful here. So, I mean, it's probably the same with you. I would say it's probably still in your head somewhere, but if you don't use it, it becomes a little, what's that word, rusty. I've thought about doing like a language. Oh, that was weird. My screen went like. Useless is more like it. Uh, yeah, you're talking about French because I would agree there. Honestly, the only useful language is like German. Yeah, German too. Like, I mean, I think I always tell people like, should I learn a language, this language or that language? Because I want to, but I don't know if it's useful. I'm like, learn it if you want to because it interests you, but like if it's literally not spoken anywhere in your country, essentially, um, yeah. And I've lived in bigger cities and still never met a single German. I think I met two Germans in the United States my whole life. Like I was like a grown man when I met my first German. I was like, oh my god, you exist, you're real. Started like touching the person's face. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen exactly like that, but I was in my head thinking like, you're real. Oh my gosh. It's like I want to meet a Native American. I've only met like white people that claim to be Native American, but they're obviously not. That's how I felt when I first met a gay conservative. When you first met me? No, I'm just kidding. Maybe you're talking about someone else. Yeah, yeah. I thought that too. Someone I used to hear about them in like fairy tales. Some gay person I knew was like, "Oh, there's actually a rising number of gay and transgender conservatives around," and I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "I'm sorry. Did you just say something that does not compute? I do not understand." It was really funny. Um, and then like I was so ignorant, yo. I'm so glad that I started being more open minded because I remember I met like a person who was like a weekend cross dresser. It was like this old man who liked to dress up as a woman and was like a friend of a friend who was gay. And then it turned out they were both conservative and they were started talking about, how they don't like Obama. And I was just like, but you're both like LGBT. I don't understand. Obama's wonderful because he's black and he supposedly likes gays, even though I'm pretty sure he said he didn't at the beginning of his presidency. Hmm. Well, he said he didn't support gay marriage. That's what he said. Um, yeah, it's so crazy to imagine how much I lived by identity groups back then. Like I shocked myself. Like I literally remember thoughts that I've had, moments that I've experienced, things that I've said to people, and I'm just like, what kind of crack was I on that I thought that I was completely normal thinking like that? Like I was an ignorant dude. Like I did not have a lot of common sense thinking like that. Walkaway is real. I've heard about a lot of gay dudes around here, all on board the Trump train. Oh yeah, did you guys or Frozen Phoenix as well as my other viewers? Did you guys hear about or hear that song? It's like YMCA turned into MAGA, and it has like this gay guy like Ricky. something like that. What's his name? Wiki something? And he's like, MAGA, yeah. He's dancing around. Wiki Rebel, yeah. OMG. I never even heard of him until I saw that. And I was like, yo, this guy's awesome. And like he's dancing around all happy in the float. I wonder if that video was like actually if they were actually attacked by Black Lives Matter right before, if that was just for like comedic effect. But either way, that was awesome to like dancing around on the float student MAGA. It's so funny because I sent it to one of my to well not one of my best friends. I sent it to my best friend, and uh, and she's not really down with politics because like she just hears about it so much she's tired of it. But um, but I'm like, you have to hear this song. It's so great. Yeah, I hope it's real. There's like a poll, which polls are mostly BS, but there is a poll that said that like 45 or 43% of gay men are supposedly going to vote for Trump or something. I hope so. What is that? Like if we're like 10% of the population, whoops. What if are we supposed to be like 10% of the population? And then like, so what, like 4%, 4.7% of the population should be voting for Trump for sure. Yeah. And they had a similar like study about black conservatives that like the black support of Trump has gone up significantly. I mean, I'm sure it has, but I think it's gone up even more than people realized. Yeah, I do hope so. And like more than just voting for him, like I just hope more people can become less radicalized, less gullible. Um, like people just, I feel like not everybody, but a lot of people tend to believe what they're told, and I used to be the same way. So I'm not really gonna act like I'm better than anybody, but like who believes Kamala is black? Kamala, that woman. The first time I saw her, like she could be anything. It's like Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj ain't even black. She's literally like a little bit of everything under the sun. And when she didn't win that award, like Taylor Swift won an award, and she's like, "Oh, the black girl doesn't get the prize because I'm black." And I'm like, "Are you though, or do you just act like it? Because you're literally about as black as I am." Do what you're told. Now be a good citizen and put your mask on. Yo, you know what I call the mask? I call it a muzzle. So sometimes when I have like free time, I do like food deliveries. Make an extra $50 or whatever, and you have to wear a mask. Other than that, I don't really wear it. And the Western burqa. oh, oh Lord Jesus, the Western burqa. That is so funny. I'm gonna use that. Yeah, I call it my muzzle. Like I'll be getting out the car, and I'll tell my husband, "Okay, hold on, get kick out the car." Yeah, he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I gotta put on my muzzle." I put it on. Oh my god, it's so funny. Oh, Western burqa. I'm sorry. Sometimes they just get me laughing. Oh, yo, have anybody ever seen that? You heard it here first. I will let people know. Western burqa. Oh Lord. Have any of you guys? I was laughing so hard the other day. I saw a video, and I think it was a few years old. It was Tucker Carlson interviewing an Antifa person who was supposedly a professor in DC, where I used to live, sort of right next to it. And I'm like, why am I not surprised that a professor at one of these jokes of a school is supposedly an Antifa? The giraffe dude, yes. And literally, as soon as I clicked on it, I was like, holy fuck, what is Juan with his neck? And I scrolled down. I love how I didn't even have to say, like, describe him for you to know. And I scrolled down to the comments because I couldn't look at him, and there was just nothing but neck jokes. Someone was like, I'm up to my neck in neck jokes. No, it's real. His neck is really that long, and somebody on somebody on the comment said I just had to scroll down for half an hour past his neck to get past his neck to see the comments. And I don't know why when I read that it was the funniest thing to me. Like I literally laughed for a good 10 minutes, and every time I tried to stop laughing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the video, and then I would see it again, I just start laughing. Oh my gosh, that was a good time. And I don't usually like to make fun of people's appearances, but I would literally go get plastic surgery if my neck looked like that. Like, I'd probably rather be like overweight with no neck than look like that. Like that was, bro. What kind of? Oh god. Just thinking about it makes me laugh so much. Sometimes I watch the. I think I'm getting a little bit bored in my life because sometimes I watch the news and it's not even something that's supposed to be funny, and it'll be just so ridiculous that I'll laugh. Like that time that the black guy got accused of white privilege. I just started laughing, and it wasn't even like funny laugh. It was like, this is so ridiculous. Can things get any more ridiculous than they already are? I'm not actually sure because it's just so absurd. Like in the span of what, like in more than a decade, you got two completely different groups of people burning a woman's books. They're still paying her. They're still paying her money to buy her books. You know, you got people hiding in their homes and having Twitter wars over a flu. You got like people crying about murder hornets. I know that was a few months ago. What else has happened? There's more. There's more that they've tried to like make us think the world's going to hell in a handbasket with. I mean, all the gays have been saying we're going to get put in gay concentration camps. Oh, wildfires. Yeah, yeah, wildfires happens every year. Like it sucks, but I have never spent a single year in my entire life that I can recall that I have not watched news once a year about California wildfires, or mudslides, or floods in the Caribbean, or floods in Miami, which I've witnessed, or hurricanes in Florida. The smoke was worse recently than I can remember ever. Okay, I'll give you that. I didn't mean to be a dick about it, but I just, if it's actually worse, I'll take it seriously. I just assumed because every year they do this that it was just some more wildfires that were not really doing much. Um, Californians invading Idaho and breathing their air with them. Oh, are there a lot of Californians, the ones that are like fleeing for their life? Are they going to Idaho? I thought they were all going to like Texas and Tennessee. Oh, okay. That's great. Wait, so forgive me for being geographically ignorant, but Idaho, is that bordering with California? It's like the one that's shaped like that, right? Like the potato bag that says Idaho potatoes. It's sad how we Americans don't know our geography. I mean, I know like generally where it is, but I couldn't remember if it bordered to the right of Oregon/Washington. Oh, okay. Okay, that kind of makes sense. It looks like a gun if you turn it sideways. Yeah, that is way awesomer than what my home state looks like if you leave it right side up. Florida. I'm not gonna say it, but I think everybody's probably thought it. What Florida looks like. But yeah, you okay with this? With what Florida? With the gun, or with Florida looking like a part of the human body? Both. Me too. Me too. I can't complain. I mean, it's better than Michigan. I mean, like, what do the Michigan people do? They're like, oh, I live here, and then I used to live there, and they're handed there. I mean, that's okay. I'm not trying to hate, but I just thought it was kind of dorky to call your state like your state is a hand. I think there was actually a joke from Jeff Foxworthy where he talked about how Michigan people do that, and they point to their hand to say where they're from. Yeah, yeah, Square would be more difficult. And Jeff Foxworthy was like, Michigan people point to their hand to say where they're from. And he was like, good thing they're not from Florida because they'd have to point at something else, and that would be public indecency. Um, yeah, like I think Montana's a square. I mean, Tennessee and Kentucky are kind of squares. I haven't been to a lot of square states, to be honest with you. I haven't really been west of the center of the country yet. Actually, I've never even been into the Western time zones or the Mountain time zones. But I've never been to the Northeast either. So there you go. Never been east of Colorado. Wow. Colorado's like right there in the West. So east of Colorado, you gotta come over here and see come over here and visit, except flying over it. Oh, I've never actually been on a plane. I'm thinking about flying to Florida or flying to New York or something. at some point because I've never been on a plane. Although right now it's not because I'm not trying to wear a mask for 10 hours or whatever. Wear a Western burqa for 10 hours. Oh gosh, yeah. I went to the mountains for the first time. Like in the past couple of months, I went to a couple different mountainous places for the first time in my life. And like I was driving to West Virginia and Northwest Mississippi. Oh, not Mississippi, Maryland. Sorry. And and like my head felt all weird and all this like pressure. And I called somebody and they're like, "Yeah, that's what happens in the mountains." I was like, "Does that happen in the plane?" And they're like, "Yeah, except for even worse." And I'm like, "How does anybody deal with that? Whoa!" Like, do you feel like your head's gonna explode? I don't know if you'd be able to answer that question for me because I'm genuinely curious. It's not painful. Okay. A minor annoyance. Okay. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. I don't know. I used to be scared of the heights, but I don't think I'd be scared of the heights anymore. I think I'd just be scared of like my head exploding. It goes away once you're up high. You don't feel any different for the most part. Okay, well that's good. Because I'm not trying to boat. Like if I go to Europe, I'm not trying to take a boat to Europe. What does that take? Like 2 weeks? They actually do cruises to Europe and like to other faraway places, like cruises to Hawaii or something. That would make me uncomfortable going to Hawaii, like all that deep ocean. I don't really want to drown, and yeah, I'm not like a super scared person, but like there's just certain ways that I don't want to die, and so I probably avoid it. Cruise ships are just giant floating buffets. I did go on a cruise once, and but it was to the Bahamas, which was like it was like maybe a couple hours. It was like a closer island from Florida, and that food was good, and it was pretty nice. And it was one of the like smaller ghetto or cruise ships too. It wasn't one of those like enormous yachts. It was pretty fancy. It was really weird because when you get off the boat, which you and y'all watching may know, but like you get off the boat and you still feel like you're moving on a boat even though you're on land. So you're walking around like whoa, like you're drunk even if you're not. Planes are giant tubes with glorified school lunches. I thought you just ate peanuts on the plane. Oh no, I think you get drunk, right? I think people on TV get drunk on airplanes. I want to do that. Can't have peanuts on planes. Allergic people. What? But on movies, they always have peanuts and wine, which is a weird combination, but still. See, this is what I'm talking about. The media lies to you people. You don't even know what they serve on planes because the movies lie to you. I mean, pretzels. Wait, hold up. How is people being allergic to peanuts, have to do with people on the plane eating peanuts? Like, if I eat peanuts, am I just gonna throw some around and like it's gonna land in someone's mouth and they're gonna have an allergic reaction? Is that a thing? I feel like they go overkill on certain things, or they do overkill. They go overboard. Yeah, I keep telling people, totally different topic, but I keep telling people, like, when they're like, I want to learn a bunch of languages like you. And I'm like, don't do it. It is a trap because you'll be speaking English one day. You might think, oh, it's cool, I can speak Chinese or something. But then one day you're speaking English and you say something that doesn't make sense. I remember one time I used to work in the mall and it was a tourist location. So I was speaking like almost no American. So I was speaking almost no English for like 4 hours. And then my friend comes to work. I finally get my break. And she comes to the back and asks me a question. And I said something. And I was like, go have the break with the person online too. Well, that makes more sense than what I said. I said something about work. I was telling her what to do because I was one of the managers. And it just didn't make sense. And she looked at me and she's like, can you English, please? And I was like, no, no, apparently I can't because I haven't spoken English for 4 hours. Like, so I tell people joking around, like, don't study other languages because it will make you retarded in English. Um, I think some people that are really strongly allergic have a reaction just being near it. If I was that allergic to peanuts, I would probably just be like, just take me now, Jesus. Like, like walk into a peanut store and keel over is what would happen by accident. Like, if that was how it was, I feel bad for those people. I like noticing similarities between languages. I do if they're not related to my language because, like I mentioned, that I studied French for a long time. I also learned Spanish and Portuguese, and those languages kicked my ass. Like I could not. Like it took. It's really difficult for me for some reason if it's similar or it's a similar looking but it's a different meaning. I am just like I don't remember it. Like I somehow remember words in like Asian languages that are nothing like my language more easily. Um, and I don't know if a lot of people have that experience. A lot of people seem to remember things better if it's similar to other Germanic or European languages, which is awesome. I envy those people, but for some reason, I have not had much luck with that. Um, like I managed to learn Spanish pretty well, but I lived in Florida, so I heard it every single day. I could use it almost every single day, and like I really had to study really hard because it was a real challenge for me. Um, but yeah. So yeah, I might have to add languages to the to the list of topics on the title after I save the stream and we're finished. I'll probably I'll probably get off of here in a minute. Um, but yeah, I'll recap. So yeah, we talked about J.K. Rowling being canceled for the 5 millionth time. I don't think that woman cares anymore. Don't worry, I can derail a conversation. All the things won't fit in the title. No, that's cool. I appreciate it. A lot of people are not able or willing to join the conversation, so I appreciate it. And I like talking to you. I'm definitely once I get my viewership going, I'll probably start setting up like call-ins. I've always wanted to do a call-in show. Oh no, I appreciate it. I'm enjoying the conversation with you, kind of like we had in the comments on another video as well. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna do a call-in show too, so people can call in at some point. Well, again, once I get my subscriber count up a little bit. Um, but yeah, we talked about J.K. Rowling. We talked about how 2020 is basically a hoax. All this stuff, not all of it, but it's none of it's the world is not going to hell in a handbasket. We talked about the LGBT community, and if any of you guys are watching or were watching or watch after the fact, and you agree or disagree or whatever, let me know in the comments. Like, don't be shy. It's okay to disagree with me. Uh, 2020 is a bad final season to wrap up a show. Yeah, I hope it's not a wrap up. I hope it's not the actual end of the world, but yeah, it kind of is. Oh, you know why? Because it's well, I guess you could consider it the end of the decade, or would it be considered the beginning of the next decade? No, it'd probably be considered the beginning of the 20s. I'm stupid. Like, I'm gonna consider it the end of the 2010s so that I can consider 2021 the new start. I think that might be how it goes actually, because the first year 0 AD was like zero. If I'm saying things wrong and I look really dumb, forgive me, guys. I'm always tired. Just that's my total excuse for when I get confused. But but yeah, if anybody has any further commentary, questions, concerns, arguments, a lot of people keep watching my stuff that I know in real life and then like texting me. Quit texting me. Comment down below, y'all. If you're watching this, comment down below. I need the comments, and I appreciate any likes or subscriptions that come my way. If you feel the need to do so, y'all are the best. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. But yeah, it's gonna be every Sunday at probably like 10 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, probably 9 o'clock, like today. Because today was like 8:30, but 9 o'clock. Because every Sunday 9 o'clock. I should use Parlor more, by the way. Yeah, do you have me on Parlor? I'm not sure if I think we I might I don't know. I haven't been on Parlor in a while actually, so I'm not even sure who I have on there. Parlor is fun. Okay, well, if you don't have me on there, shoot me a comment and I will send you my thingamajiggy. Yeah, that's like the band. All the band people are on Parlor. Yeah, if anybody's watching this who does not have Parlor, go on Parlor, make an account. I'm pretty sure my Parlor is in my information box about me thingamajiggy on my page, on my YouTube main channel page. If not, I'll put it on there or I'll comment below. Or I'll put it in the description box. Or description box, yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys. Thank you, Phoenix. I appreciate the conversation. And I will see you all next Monday at 9 o'clock-ish. Okay, bye.